What's going on, people? Welcome back to the United Stand. We are live on the Fans Forum after Manchester United have beat FCSB, I always get that wrong, FCSB 2-0 away. A great result, seeing as we are now actually undefeated in Europe, which is so surprising considering, the season that we've had. But, we just perform under the lights, That's just what United are about, playing under the lights. But we're going to discuss everything about the game and also just United conversation in general. I'm obviously not by myself. I am joined by Sam, Tool, and obviously Ricky. Now, obviously, all three were on the build-up show, so we kind of spoke a lot about the players. So, Ricky, I really want to know your opinions. First and foremost, how do you think the game went? Because you came in straight away and said, are you guys not excited? Are you guys not happy about the game? So, explain to the people. I'm
proper excited. I really think the manager's getting it home to the players, how he wants them to play, how he wants them to look after the ball. I saw the group chat actually where I think Tully said I think it was boring. I watched it with my two lads tonight, by the way.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll make what do you call it? An apology straight away. I watched it further away from home than when I normally watch it. I had to leave on 80 minutes, so anything you discuss that happened in the last 15 minutes or so, including injury time, I never saw it. I had to leave earlier to get here on time because I was a bit further away. But I saw the group chat. And I said to my lads, they're all talking about it being boring in the first half, and one of my lads said it is a bit boring. The other one said, well, I don't know, they're playing some, they're keeping the ball well. That's what we want. I'm excited about about the manager getting his message home and the players taking it on board. And our recent Brighton have beaten us, haven't they? We've lost one in the last 7 now, and the away game form is absolutely colossal. Drawing at Anfield, drawing at Arsenal, beating them on pens, winning at Fulham, which is a tricky game in itself. Let's not get too giddy, because this Europa League level, it's a bit like Championship level. When you think that there's 36 teams in the Champions League who can't drop into the Europa League, more than ever, it's more like Championship level, let's be honest. But it's still a fantastic atmosphere there. They rarely lose at home. It's a game where you think you could slip up, and they've gone there and completely controlled it in the first half. They did get a couple of chances, although the one from the free kick, I think he would have been offside had he put it in. I was really pleased, really pleased, and I can't wait for the next game. Just hope we can play similarly. And I've got 1 or 2 more things to add about players in positions that are helping us to do that, but we'll come to that later.
Yeah, we'll definitely come to that later. So, how did you feel about it? Obviously, Ricky just mentioned about, you said it was a boring game. I think we all were kind of saying it whilst we were sat in there, how, especially the first half, it felt a bit like it was very repetitive. There wasn't no real creation, anything happening in the first half. But, we ended up getting it over the line. How did you feel the game went as a whole?
I thought the first 30 minutes, Rick's right that the focus was on keeping the ball, which you'd rather have the ball than not have the ball. However, I think the manager spotted the same thing that a lot of us did, and the 2-10s, it almost felt a little bit like too many cooks in the kitchen for me, where you got Bruno and Eriksen trying to do their thing, but Højlund just isn't doing enough up top. There's not enough movement up there, and we're keeping the ball well around the box, but it was like we hit a brick wall then. There was just we were kind of waiting and prodding, but we weren't really getting the ball in behind. I think the manager made the right call, changing the 10s at half time. I think Eriksen stayed in the 10, didn't he? But Garnacho came on the other one, and Ahmad came on at wing back. Thought it was the right subs. I thought as soon as the first goal went in, the game lightened up a little bit, didn't it? We started zipping the ball about much quicker. I think a lot of that was on the opposition, though. I think the opposition kind of became more sloppy after the first goal, kind of lost a bit of hope and concentration. But I was very pleased with the last half hour of the game. We've seen the game out very nicely.
I'm just reading the chat. Everyone's put. I'm sure Mark sent everyone. Welcome. If anybody's obviously just coming in, welcome to the Fans Forum. Everyone's putting in the chat Bruno man of the match. Everyone's put Bruno man of the match.
Are you serious?
Look, I'm lying. Everyone's put Bruno lying. MOTM. We'll discuss who we think the man of the match is probably later on in the show. But Sam, you talk about how you feel like the game went.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with what Tool said. I think it started off a bit dead. There was only like a couple of really exciting moments in that first half. But as Ricky was saying, I'd rather the game be a bit dull and boring and United were controlling the game then the game be really exciting. But United were being absolutely dominated and played around with. So I think we were compact in the first half, which is a good thing. I also think that we have got to give Ruben Amorim a lot of praise today. His subs completely changed the game. His subs won us that game. And I'm sure we'll get on to Kobby Mainoo playing in that 10, but wow, what a performance.
100%. I mean, let's get on to Kobby. I mean, we're going to go through all the players anyway, but I mean, I've got some stats here up about Kobby Mainoo. Obviously, 1 goal, 1 assist, 100% crosses completed, 100% long pass accuracy, 94% pass accuracy, 32 out of 32 passes completed, 5 duels won, 3 tackles attempted, 3 tackles won, 3 shots, 2 chances created, and obviously lastly the goal and the assist. Also, another fact here: the first Man United player to score an assist on his first European start since Rooney in 2004 against Fenerbahce. Which, wow. I mean, that you can either take that 2 ways. First of all, how has no one done that in that amount of time? But secondly, that's great company to be part of. With Wayne Rooney, an absolute legend. It just goes to show what kind of performance he put in today. Now, I mean, we spoke on the forum about Kobby Mainoo playing in the 10. Has he done a good enough audition to say, you know what, this is the position that I should be in?
100%, and we've been saying it on this show for ages. For the manager only to just grasp it, I'm a bit concerned about that.
Yeah.
When I say only just grasp it, he brought him on for about 10 to 12 minutes in that position at weekend. And very unlucky for Ahmad to have that goal disallowed. I still can't tell if it's offside or not.
Millimetres, yeah.
Yeah, millimetres in it. So very, very unlucky. And it's a beautiful combination between Mainoo and Ahmad. And they're still our 2 most exciting players for me, despite the fact that, as I said, I drove in with 10 minutes to go, so I had it on the radio. Yeah. All the people on the radio were all talking about how well United played tonight. That's what they're all talking about.
Yeah.
And what they're also saying, though, like you've just said, is Garnacho made the difference. I suppose he did tonight, but I still think Mainoo, to me, is the main ingredient. And I think he played for 10 minutes there. They were unlucky to get a goal disallowed at Fulham, and I think the manager straight away has thought, he looks the part there. That's why he started him there tonight. And tonight, for me, he was absolutely fantastic.
100%. And even, you mentioned Garnacho briefly. Obviously, he only played 45 minutes, but I still feel like in that 45 minutes, he did make a big impact. I mean, I'm going to go through a couple of his stats in a second, but quick question before, I want your opinion on Mainoo as well. If you were to pick a 10 right now out of Garnacho and Mainoo, based on what you saw tonight, who would you pick?
I'll pick Mainoo anywhere. It doesn't matter, 10. Centre mid.
I mean, like specifically for the 10 position.
Out of those two, mate, I'm taking Mainoo every day of the week.
Do you know what I'm hoping for, if I may cut in? I'm hoping this Dorgu is the real deal.
Yeah.
Because if he can play at left wing back and Dalot can play at right wing back, we might see the last of Ahmad having to play as a wing back, and then we might have Ahmad and Mainoo as the 2 10s, and I think it'd be fantastic.
That'd be crazy. Right. But anyway, so I mean, you speak on Mainoo. What are your opinions on him in the 10 as well?
Yeah, we touched on it in the pre-game show, didn't we, when we were trying to come up with our predicted 11. And we both mentioned the little cameo we had at Fulham on the weekend, where, getting a player of his quality closer to Ahmad. And I was happy that Mainoo played as the right-sided 10 today, because he was right next to Ahmad. And straight away, as soon as Ahmad gives him the ball, they know, because they're both intelligent, and he knows straight away where to give it. His touch was brilliant today. Like I said, linking up with Ahmad. Just everything was spot on from Mainoo today. The goal and the assist is just cherry on top. So I know Rick's been saying we've got to get him in the 10, just because he operates better, Mainoo, I think, in those tighter areas. I think Mainoo's a 1-2 touch player. I think you get the best out of him, back to goal, 1-2 touch, rather than trying to bring the ball out. I just think it slows him down a little bit. I think he's better when he's got less time. He can be a bit zippier. And I thought he did that well today. So I'd like to see more of it going forward, definitely. And
I even think you're 100% correct, but there was even times when Mainoo was running in behind, and I know people love to run this narrative that he's too slow, he's sluggish, he can't run. Mainoo, there was that first chance where he's running behind and the ball's come over the top. I can't remember who he played it, maybe like Martinez, and he's like flicked it over the player and he's just missed that volley.
He was doing that run, by the way, the entire first half.
Yeah,
he did that run about 10 times before he got the ball.
Yeah.
He was trying it, and eventually they picked him out.
I'm going to throw the question to you as well. In that 10 position, I mean, let's just go with who would be your 2 favourite 10s right now? Out of all the players that we have, who would be your 2 favourite 10s?
Yeah, I'd probably, based off what I saw today, I'd probably go with I'd probably go with Mainoo and Ahmad.
Yeah.
Just at the moment because there is no Dorgu. If Dorgu comes in, as Ricky said, and becomes the proper player, then hopefully that we won't really see as much of Ahmad at right wing back as we saw. And that's not to say that Ahmad can't play right wing back because he scored a hat-trick from right wing back. But Ahmad is our best attacking player at the moment. So to have our best attacking player in a defensive role, yes, that defensive role is still attacking, but it's not as attacking as playing number 10. So to have our best attacking player playing in that deeper role isn't much help. Yes, he can get forward, but not much, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I'd probably go Mainoo and Ahmad, and I think that the changes that Amorim made, as I said earlier, they just helped the whole dynamic of the game. We started looking lively, and there's all this obviously transfer talk about Garnacho. Will he stay? Will he go? But he was fantastic today. He was great, Garnacho, today. He was constantly going at it, had a few shots, maybe should have scored. But yeah, he was fantastic, and me saying that I prefer Mainoo and Ahmad isn't discrediting Garnacho because I thought he was great today.
100%. I mean, I've got some stats here for Garnacho. This season so far, 14 goals and assists. Considering he's not even starting every game, that's great stats. I mean, we don't even know where he's going to end up at the end of the season if he obviously does stay. But tonight, 45 minutes, 14 duels contested, 9 duels won, 7 dribbles attempted, 5 dribbles completed, which was the most in the game, 3 shots, 2 chances created, and 1 assist. I mean, it's not just based on that, but I mean, today was obviously a great game. Is that kind of Garnacho saying, look, you guys, you actually need me. Like, I'm providing something extra to this team that it kind of felt like in the first half we didn't have that kind of spark from anyone. And you can see Ahmad brought the spark as well, and the manager, his changes, tactically kind of, it was all a combined effort. But Garnacho was definitely a huge influence in my opinion. The question now is, are you kind of a Garnacho in, or are you still the right price he can go?
I think it's a credit to man management. I think the way Amorim dealt with it and took him out of the light and kind of put it upon Garnacho of kind of like, if you want to start, then you're going to have to play this way. If you compare how Garnacho's playing now, and I still don't think I think going forward he's not going to be what we need. However, if you compare what he's doing now to 3 months ago, there is an improvement. There's a definite improvement. A lot less wasteful. And just a lot more output on the ball. There's less times now where you're putting your head in your hands, whereas it used to feel like all game long, every time you had the ball, you're putting your head in your hands, ripping your hair out, where every game it's becoming less and less and less. So obviously credit to Garnacho too, but I do think Amorim is there. He deserves a bit of credit for that, for the way he managed it.
The problem for me is, you look at our squad and you look at our depth in those attacking areas. If Garnacho leaves, does that really leave you with enough cover, knowing that now the deadline is on Monday and Manchester United are horrific at bringing in players, as we've seen? We're, 30 days into the transfer window and not a single player has come in, even Dorgu isn't over the line yet. So I don't think I trust this Manchester United hierarchy to bring in a Garnacho replacement. If we're not going to bring in a Garnacho replacement, we have to keep Garnacho. That's just how I see it. 100%.
I mean, I've been off the whole notion of, you know what, I would rather Garnacho stay. If the price is that high, that, you know, it's a bit wild to say no to a certain number. I think everyone's kind of got a price. Yeah. Even if it was, actually, no, I'm not saying any names, but there's certain players that even if they asked a certain amount, 120 million, you're going to say, you know what, that's a lot of money. But I feel like with Garnacho, especially with what Sam just said, we just don't have enough personnel. We don't have enough players to even justify letting one of them go, letting an attacking player go. Maybe, you know, a fullback or maybe a midfielder, etc. I mean, Eriksen, we're going to talk about Eriksen in a second, but a player like Eriksen or Casemiro, it makes sense to let them go because we do have all options in there. But an attacking 10, you know, an offensive player, it doesn't make, in my opinion, it doesn't make too much sense to let him go and Rashford go and Anthony go all at the same time. So yeah, I think I'm still in the Garnacho in kind of boat. But I mean, I just spoke about Eriksen, and the whole conversation about mainly pushing up to the 10 means that those two pivot positions, it's now, you know, who's going to play there. And it was mainly when Ugarte, but today, I mean, Eriksen had a good game. Collier's been having good games. I mean, Ricky, you speak a little bit on this. How do you feel like Eriksen's performance was today, and also Collier?
I thought they both played well. I thought Ericsson was excellent. Look, again, I spoke to Hinton about us looking after the ball. He's a main part of that. And when you bring in somebody on like Garnacho, who perhaps does change the game, he plays the game obviously in a different way. Don't underestimate the value of taking control of the game, even though you haven't scored. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
On other circumstances, and maybe with a more attacking player in the first place, maybe you're a goal down rather than a goal up. Yeah. There's not a lot of harm in staying in the game, and being in control of the game spoils their confidence as well. So it's a team game, and it's a 90-minute game, and there's no harm in bringing exciting players on later in the game rather than starting with them. Yeah. The way I saw it to start with, Ericsson and Mainoo were in the 210s, and Collier and Bruno were in the 6s, and I thought Collier did really well in there, and I was a bit surprised he took him off, but obviously it worked. Was it an injury?
They said TNT said like in the 43rd minute that he was holding his shoulder, so
right, so they might not took him off.
Probably a precaution.
Okay.
So I mean, you obviously spoke about Collier having a decent game. I mean, in my opinion, I've said this for the past few games now. Collier's putting in a good word to not necessarily start, but to at least put his name in the conversation to come on.
Without a doubt.
Because before it was kind of like, well, Collier's playing. Do we know how good he is? Can he, play under the pressure, play at Old Trafford? It's a bit difficult for a player that's not had too much game time compared to obviously everybody else. But I think now he's kind of showing, you know what, I'm here to stay. You don't even send me out on loan. I'm good enough now. I can play. I can come on and make a difference and add something to the team. I mean, Sam, is Collier? I mean, we spoke about on the build-up show earlier. Is Collier a player that first of all, a player that you like to see on the pitch, and also, is he a player that you feel like would be a starter in the future, or are you happy to see him, coming on and off and being rotated throughout the team?
Yeah, I think the way that we're handling the Collier situation at the moment is perfect for his career and his development. I don't think we want to shine too much, put too much pressure on him starting week in, week out, 2 games a week. I think that could be too much because obviously he's only just now coming into the team. I've got absolutely no problem with him playing, none whatsoever. One thing I would say is that he's definitely, for me, ahead of Casemiro. Even Casemiro stepped foot on the football pitch. We all forgot about Casemiro. He played for 15 minutes today and he was woeful. He was horrendous. He was getting ran past. One time the player did him and he slipped on the floor. Casemiro is just that's probably the end for him at Manchester United. But for me, Collier is that perfect. If you're not going to bring Casemiro on, you're going to bring Collier on. And when he comes on or when he's starting, I don't think anyone turns their nose up and go, oh really, Collier? I think everyone's like, oh okay, that's fine. Yeah,
I mean, even his age-wise, I mean, we've got quite a good squad in terms of 23 and under. You've got Ugarte's 23, Xerxes 23, Collier's 21, Ahmad's 22, Mainoo's 19, Garnacho's 19, and then you've got right now our academy is insane. I think our under 18 team is undefeated this season again. So I mean, we've got so much young players coming through, and last season the whole conversation was about we need a good mixture of experience and what's the word? Potential, a good combination of experience and potential. Now, I mean, next season, if Casemiro was to leave and Ericsson was to leave, do you still feel like we'd need to bring in a bit more experience into the team, a bit more, older players to kind of somehow guide the younger players, keep them on track? Because sometimes it's not always what's on the pitch. Sometimes you just need an older player to just be there to at least guide them in just making the right choices and stuff like that off the pitch as well. Do you feel like that's something that we need?
I wouldn't say so, no.
Okay.
But not with the players that we've got. For example, I mean, Maguire's an experienced player. Ericsson's an experienced. I'm not, like you just said, I'm not necessarily saying they've got to be in the starting 11. But around the club, people like Maguire, Ericsson, even Martinez.
Evans is a big one.
Luke Shaw's on his way back, isn't he? Fingers crossed. He probably won't last long, but he's about. So there's plenty of experience there to help the lads and talk to him off the park, and some of them will be on the park as well, won't they, when we play?
But I mean, by the end of the season, half of those guys could probably be gone. I mean, we don't know where Luke Shaw's going to end up. We don't know Johnny Evans.
Johnny Evans will probably retire, I think.
He'll probably retire. I mean, Maguire.
Any news? Can I just ask? Does any know? Is he injured at the minute, or was he on the bench tonight? I don't think he was.
Got injured a few weeks ago, probably about a month back, and no one's heard anything since. It's probably might be the end for him.
Yeah. I mean, is that something that kind of it's a bit unfortunate for you, or do you still feel like he's got a place or he's got a role that he can fulfill in his team?
No. Look, I think he's a top player and he's had a fantastic career.
Yeah.
And I don't. If we had to use him now, he wouldn't let us down. I'm sure he wouldn't. And he's hardly played any games this season, but he did play at Villa Park when Villa was still in the top 4. Yeah. And got man of the match. So, that's only 6 months ago. It's not 6 years ago. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
I mean, we've got a quote here from Amorim on securing qualification. That is massive for us, the joy of winning, the feeling of winning, but we will have 2 weeks to prepare our idea. That is massive for us. So he's obviously very happy about the win. I mean, there was a couple of people in, the build-up showing that Amorim might even go for a draw. I don't think Amorim will ever go for a draw in his life. I don't think he's that kind of manager to even attempt that. But going back onto the team anyway and today's game, I mean, Tor, I want you to speak a little bit also on that midfield 2 option. Bruno, obviously, like Ricky said, he was kind of starting there. I felt like he was rotating a bit with Mainoo. Sometimes Bruno would go further forward, Mainoo would drop, and then they'll kind of alternate. In terms of the midfield positions, and specifically Bruno Fernandes, if Mainoo was to push a bit further forward, do you feel like Bruno is comfortable enough to stay in that midfield pivot, or do you feel like it makes more sense for Bruno to be one of the 10s as well?
It depends, doesn't it, on you? Again, I know we said about Dorgu, but your wing-back situation, because Ahmad's obviously the main part of it. So the question there lies, is Ahmad one of your 10s or is he your wing-back? Now, let's say Ahmad's one of your wing-backs and you've got one number 10 spot there. I'd say overall, from what we've seen from Mainoo, I think you're getting better performances out of him in the 10 than in the pivot. And I also think you're getting better performances out of Bruno. I don't think he was superb today, Bruno. I just thought he was average. But I think overall you get a better performance from Bruno in the pivot than you do in the 10. I think so. I know Bruno had that spectacular performance at Anfield in the 10. But as a whole, if you're looking at the whole time Amorim's been here, I'd say that's the case. So, and Amorim's trying new things, mate. He's trying to wrap his head around the squad. It really won't surprise me to see Mainoo get at least 2-3 games now in that 10 position, alongside Ahmad. I'm not totally against the idea of Ahmad playing wing back though. I feel like I'm probably one of the most for Ahmad playing wing back, to be honest. I think Ahmad playing wing back means he probably touches the ball more, to be honest. As long as Ahmad's getting most of the ball, mate, I'm happy. And if you can get Mainoo as that right 10 like we did today, and I know it was only a glimpse, but at Fulham when Mainoo, I know it was from a counter attack or something like that, where Mainoo and Ahmad are next to each other on the pitch. You can get your intelligent players next to each other. I said it before. If you can build an 11 and almost sort of like divide it. So you've got like 3 5-a-side teams in your 11. Yeah. You can really start knocking the ball about. Those chances will come a lot easier. Get your intelligent players next to each other. You've seen it with Ahmad and Mainoo loads today, where Ahmad would give it and straight away Mainoo wouldn't even have to look. He knew where to give the ball. He didn't go through every time, but he knows exactly what Ahmad wants when he's giving it.
Yeah. Nick, can I just say, Mainoo did something tonight that I've complained about Bruno on this show. I must have complained about it 20 times over the years. I like a number 10 who wants to play the ball simple out to the wing, whether it's a full-back or a winger, or as we're playing now, usually a wing-back. Plays it out, gets himself in the box to try to get on the end of it. And today, and I think as far as I know, it's Mainoo's first ever start as a number 10. He played the ball to Garnacho, ran into the box and got on the end of the cross. Now then, Bruno must have played 200 games for us as a number 10, because he played as a number 10 even before when we're only playing with one number 10. I'd like to know, because that's why I've always moaned about it. He doesn't like to give he's always, people think it's good that he's looking for difficult passes, and I've forever complained, just give the ball out to the wing, get yourself in the box. Mainoo's played one game and done it. One game. Right? If anybody can think of a situation, I know Bruno scored plenty of goals in the comments. If anybody can think of a goal that Bruno has scored where he's actually passed it out to the wing and then run in, so I don't mean just like he did against Rangers, he was the one who ran in the box and scored, but he didn't play the ball out to the wing himself and run in the box and scored. Has he ever done that? Or has he done it once or maybe twice in bloody 200 games? Mainoo plays once and does it. That's what you want your number 10s to play like. I
mean, I want to kind of talk a bit more about the game specifically, that first half. Mainoo did have I think it was those 2 big chances in the first half. The one where I mentioned earlier where it came over the top and he's kind of flicked it, gone for the volley. And there was another one where he's kind of, I think Højlund, it's been passing to
Came
Højlund.
late into the box, yeah.
Cut it back and he's kind of skied it over the bar, which, in my opinion, the fact that exact chance came back to him again, he scored, kind of shows a lot, because it was pretty much an identical kind of opportunity. Very similar position. It was a cutback, and instead of him going a bit more like, well, the first shot kind of went over the bar. The first one was more placed on the floor and obviously went in. I think that kind of shows his first of all, his understanding of the game, because he kind of learnt his lessons straight away. And his second chance, he adapted and scored a goal. But I mean, I'll go back to you. That first half, I mean, I've got some stats here anyway, I think, about the first half. So, where are these? So in the first half, United had 6 shots. In the second half, we had 15. First half, we had 2 big chances. Second half, we had 4. First half, we had 0 corners. Second half, we had 6. And for all you guys who love XG, first half, we had 0.84 XG. Second half, we had 2. So I mean, speak on the differences that you kind of noticed the most from the first half to the second half.
I think it opened up a little bit from Ahmad going out wide and Garnacho being in there. I think it just opened up a bit more space. Like I said earlier, it felt a little bit like when there was Mainoo, Bruno and Eriksen, sorry, it almost felt a little bit like too many cooks in the kitchen at one point, where they're all looking for Højlund, and it was, there wasn't enough going on up top to bypass that line of defence. We kind of got to the line of defence and we hit a brick wall. By bringing Garnacho on, he's going to run a bit. He's going to try and drag out wide because he wants the ball to feet and he wants to run. I feel like that little bit of space that opened up. I feel like your players like Mainoo, like Eriksen. I thought Eriksen had quietly a really good game today. There was a little 15-20 minute period where I thought he was flawless. Kept the game really nice and simple, but kept the game ticking as well. Was really just trying to keep the ball moving as fast as possible.
Beautiful little header to Mainoo.
Oh, I pointed that out to the guys. It was brilliant, and then Mainoo just as well did a little body feint and made a little bit of space to get the ball across goal. So I thought it was a brilliant little goal, that one. Loved it.
So Simon, what do you think about how the second half kind of changed? Obviously the substitutes did make a difference, but I feel like in general we just played a little bit better. I felt like we grew a lot more into the game. We were very comfortable anyway. We held a lot of possession. We had a lot of passes. But there didn't seem to be no spark in the first half. It was like we were waiting for something to happen and nothing happened. And eventually something kind of just switched and it was like, okay, we're playing better passes now, we're making better runs. What do you think was the biggest change?
Yeah, I mean, as Tool said, in the first half, we kept the ball well, we were playing decent football, but we ran and we hit a brick wall, and then that cycle started again, and that cycle was like that for 45 minutes. Yeah. Then half-time came, and then Garnacho and Ahmad came on. And then suddenly Manchester United came out like a different side. You had Ahmad, who is obviously at the moment is probably our best player. He came on, so obviously when you're bringing your best player on, you're automatically going to become a better team with your best player on that pitch. And Garnacho as well. And they were both just going at it. And if you're attacking and you need to score and your wing back and your winger are just going at it, 9 times out of 10, the ball will end up in a more attacking position and you will score like Manchester United did today. So it's no coincidence that we brought 2 attacking-minded players on and then started playing more attacking football and scored and won the game.
100%. I mean, I've got some super chats here. Make sure you send in your super chats. Thank you everyone for watching. We're going to speak a bit more on some players. I mean, I want to speak on Højlund as well and how his game went. So super chat from the green team. Tool speaks sense. Best players close together. Another super chat from, you don't say thank you or?
It's like 5-a-side, mate, isn't it? If you can play a game of football like 5-a-side, everyone's just ticky-tacker, mate. The opposition will just lose focus, mate.
100%. And another super chat from Jonas Suweki. Hey guys, do you think we should try play Kobby Mainoo? We were saying that before, but surely there's another striker in the academy that can play.
Yeah, I said from what we're getting from Højlund, I don't think it's any more than what you'd get if you went and picked the striker from the 18s or the striker from the 21s. I just don't think. It's just not. I'm not even thinking about the price tag at this point. I'm just thinking about if you're picking a striker that often, 2 out of 3 games pretty much. He's got to do more. It's gone past goals and assists now. I'm not even looking at that. I just think he's got to do more. Yeah. I think he must be a nightmare to play with. I'm not for the argument of him getting no service. I don't agree with it. I think he's got to do more.
What do you think about potentially?
He's got good. Yeah, I think Tull's right, but he was a bit unlucky, Højlund, not to get an assist today because Mainoo did miss the chance that he set up for him, and he did really well there, Højlund. But yeah, overall, he's just not good enough, is he? I don't think. I'm sorry.
What do you think, Sam?
Yeah. But, I mean, there's not.
What do you think about the whole Chido, Obi Martin?
I think that's probably it's probably a fairy tale. It's probably not the most sensible idea.
16, 17.
Just joined from Arsenal Academy.
I wouldn't
Obviously,
mind seeing him get 10 minutes or 15 minutes as a sub and let's see what he looks like.
Yeah, I'm more for the 10-minute appearance than throwing him straight in from the beginning because he's got no Premier League experience. But he looks like a proper serious player, so hopefully he can carry on, develop the way he is, scoring hat-tricks for the academy and become a lead Manchester United because, wow, what a player.
Yeah, honestly. Another super chat from Yasin. I'll be Glinios out. Oh my gosh. Glinios out if they sell Mainoo and Garnacho. These people are all about business. Berada. WTF are you doing? Come on, CEO, show some character. Some strong opinions. Another super chat from Carl Robertson. Do we get cash for qualifying? I don't think so.
I mean,
it won't be a lot.
We'll get more cash for being in the tournament.
Yeah. Super chat from Alex Marmin. First half was about controlling the game and being compact. Second half was about putting pace into the game. Mainoo is much better as a number 10. Amorim masterclass.
Yeah, facts.
Great super chat. And also one more super chat from RJ17. Who's our potential opponents in the round of 16? I mean, we're going to get onto that later in the show, but I may as well bring it up now. So, where is it? It's at the top. So, Man United and Tottenham will both... Man United and Tottenham will play one of AZ Alkmaar. AZ Alkmaar, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that name. Alkmaar, Midtjylland, Real Sociedad, or Galatasaray in the last 16. Now, out of those names, out of those teams, who are you most, I guess...
Any of the first two. Any of the first two.
He'll finish.
That's what you want. You don't want Real Sociedad or Galatasaray.
Well, they sound like real football teams.
No offence to any of the...
No offence to AZ Alkmaar. Watch them knock us out now. No offence to AZ Alkmaar or Midtjylland. But surely we've got more chance against those than, imagine going... I don't know which way around the draw is. With us being the top seeds, I bet we'll be away first. I bet they do it like that as well.
I'm not sure how it works.
I bet they do, But if it's not, if it gets drawn out of a hat or something, I won't fancy going to Galatasaray for a second leg if we're only 0-0 or 1-0 up even.
Yeah, I mean, I've still got nightmares from last season. I mean, I think it was the game where they beat us 3-2. I mean, we were up 2-0 and then they came back and beat us 3-2.
Oh yeah, that was a bad game.
And I think Onana probably made a mistake that game. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, I mean, so out of those teams, any teams that you're kind of thinking, I don't really want to go against them?
Definitely Sociedad. You said Galatasaray or I thought it might have been Olympiacos. Is it definitely Galatasaray?
Galatasaray, yeah.
Is
Galatasaray,
it? Yeah, I wouldn't fancy Galatasaray, mate. Not after last year. Really wouldn't fancy it.
We've been traumatised in Europe now because of what happened last year. But anyway, let's move on. There's still a couple of players that I want to speak on. We spoke a little bit about Højlund. I want to kind of go more into that because he's been given a lot of opportunity now. It's not like he's been just taken out the firing line and he's just been substituted every single game. He started the last game. Today, started again. Two very, in my opinion, underwhelming games. He didn't really do a lot. And it's the same story after each game. It's like people are saying, it's not about the goals, it's not about the assist. You're just not playing well as a player. Like your first touch isn't great, you're not holding it up great, you're not linking up great. Yes, you had that chance with Mainoo, that could have probably wiped out everything, but I mean, football's all about fine margins. He scores it, it's a different conversation. Now that he's missed, now we're looking at it differently. So, I mean, in my opinion, I still feel like Xerxes is adding more right now to the team and he probably deserves a lot more to start over Højlund. I mean, Sam, do you agree or do you still feel like there's something else that Højlund can kind of bring if he just steps up a little notch or just brings a bit more level to his game?
Yeah, I mean it's no secret any Manchester United fan watching our team play week in week out know that Højlund does have to step it up because he is not right there at the moment. What I will say is I thought Højlund made a few good runs in today, but most of the time he found the ball behind where he was. So either that's the player who was crossing it to him's fault for not understanding Højlund's run, or Højlund himself for not understanding where to be to put the ball in the back of the net. Now, you'd probably go to the latter, for Højlund has to be in those positions to put the ball in the back of the net. And yes, you're right, because sometimes we've seen also that when Højlund does get the ball, like today, into the side netting, a low shot, keeper wasn't really troubled by Højlund. So his finishing does have to become better, but his overall game is poor, but there are still glimpses there that's like, if you can take it up like 15 levels from where you're currently at, you can do it, but just at the moment it's just not working.
So are you going to the next game? I think we've got Palace in the next game. Who's starting for you? Is it
Xerxes.
Back to Xerxes, I guess, because Højlund has been starting the last couple of games?
Yeah, I mean, Højlund started the last couple of games, so Xerxes obviously has missed out. So I would probably go back to Xerxes. I just think they offer, our two strikers with Højlund and Xerxes offer two completely different things. Xerxes wants to come and get the ball and play it, and then be there to finish it. Højlund likes to just jump, wrestle, and then hope, right? But Xerxes comes, gets the ball. He's more involved with the game than Højlund is. Højlund is Højlund is expecting the ball, but Xerxes wants to come and get it. If you know what I mean.
Not calling for it. Højlund's kind of just wishing.
If that makes sense, in the fact that Xerxes actively wants to be on the ball, but Højlund wants to be there to put the chances away. Now you can pick: would you rather your striker be there to put the chances away, or rather your striker come and create and then put the chances away?
I suppose if we do keep playing with. I think if we keep playing with Mainoo and Ahmad as 10s, I think we'll find we do create more chances. So let's just see whichever striker plays, if they can start putting a few chances in. If we do create more chances, and I think we will. If we play Ahmad, as Tull said, close to each other, play them too close to each other, I think you'll find we do start creating more chances. And strikers thrive off goals. You know, if he was to... and let's say miracle of miracles, if Højlund was to start on Sunday and Ahmad and Mainoo play, he might score twice in the first half. You know, it can happen, it can just fall for you, and that breeds confidence. So let's just hope, I'm hoping the manager sticks with that as a combination, and then whichever striker plays, he should get more chances.
I mean, Højlund this season so far has got 2 goals, like just 2 goals.
So he's not likely to get 2 in 45 minutes then, is he?
He's only got 2 so far. I mean, compared to the other players, Garnacho's got 3 goals. I think this might be in the Premier League. 2 goals in the Premier League. Garnacho's got 3 goals and 1 assist in the Premier League. Ahmad's got 6 and 6 in the Premier League, and then Bruno's got 6 assists and 5 goals in the Premier League. I mean, he's got the same amount of goals as Martinez in the Premier League, so it kind of does say a lot about whether or not he's going to score the next game. But there are some more quotes out from Amorim on Kobby Mainoo. He says, Kobby Mainoo played in a different position with more freedom, closer to the box. He can change the game there. He enjoyed the game more. And then he was asked about him staying further forward, and he said, we will see Kobby can play in different positions, but I think this position is good.
Ooh, I like that sound of that.
So he's got a bit of confidence.
I just wish the manager would have watched this programme as soon as he took the job.
He watched it a bit too late. He should have watched it about 6 weeks ago. And Kobby Mainoo got asked also on him playing as a number 10. He says, it's a lot more freedom. I felt comfortable up there. I enjoyed it.
Let's just hope it sticks.
Brilliant. Sounds good.
Honestly, I hope this is it's a sign of good things to come anyway. It seems like both the manager and the player can see it now. They both understand it. And especially with Amorim's system seems so detailed, seems so technical. You can't just throw a player in there and just expect them to know exactly what to do. So now that he has played there once and Amorim can see, you know what, he knows what he's doing, maybe in training now, he'll start training there a bit more often, he'll understand what to do there a bit more, and also the players that are around him will be able to read his game a little bit more, so it will kind of just gel naturally a bit better in my opinion. But I mean, moving on, there's a few players that also had difficult games. Malacia came off at half-time. And now we spoke on the build-up show. I mean, if Sam was saying he doesn't even think Malacia might play today, he did get the opportunity to play. There's still a huge chance he's going to go out on loan. If he doesn't, what do you think that means for Malacia now?
I think it was fair to say Malacia struggled today. He struggled massively today. He obviously made that terrible challenge. Dangerous, yeah, that's the right word. He obviously made that dangerous challenge.
Played a short back pass as well, didn't he?
Yeah. He did, and then he was on a yellow, and I said it to you, and I said, I'm not sure Malacia will make these 90 minutes still on the pitch. I think there's a red card coming. And yeah, he really struggled today. He's obviously was out for a long period of time, but he has been back for quite a few weeks since. He's not awful, he's just there. I think that's fair to say. Like, he is just there to play at the moment. But I think Dorgu comes in, Malacia can go. That suits all parties.
What's the latest with Dorgu, Sam?
Medical this weekend.
All right. So when you say it's not nailed yet, it's just waiting for.
Yeah. As in, they just haven't signed the papers, but he'll become a United player. Yeah.
So I mean, Tor, you can speak on this a little bit as well. Malacia, it was a very difficult game. We were literally saying it whilst we were watching it. Like, he's not. I don't think even since he's kind of come back from injury, he's put in really any convincing performances to kind of say, you know what, I can still play at this level. In my opinion, he's dropped down a huge level, and that is going to happen naturally. I mean, you don't play for, what was it, 2 years or a year and a half? You don't play for that long. It's almost impossible for you to just come back and be that player again. Do you feel like this is kind of it? That he's at this level of football, that's it for Malacia, and he's not an older player. He's still kind of at a good age. Or do you think this is over for him?
It could be, and it's unfortunate if it is. I remember his first game when he came back. I could have thought, wow, he looks well off it in terms of sharpness, but he's not gained any sharpness. He's played made a few cameos, and he doesn't seem to have gained any sharpness for me. And like you said, it could be the end for him, and if not, it's probably going to take him a year or two to really get back into the rhythm, and we've not really got time to wait. To be honest, we've not got time to wait. So I think the thing with Malacia is, as a wing back, there's got to be an understanding of when to get forward, and if you compare him to Dalot, being one of the midfielders or the 10 on his side, the difference between him and Dalot is when they pick the ball up, there's a confidence that Dalot is going to be there, ready to overlap or ready to make that run into the box. Whereas Malacia, he's never there. Yeah. He's never there. There was one time, to be fair, where he was there today, and I know he had a bit of a dig at Ireland because he put the ball across the box and Ireland was nowhere to be seen, and he kind of had a bit of a moan at Ireland.
Yeah.
But
entitled to have a moan at him as well.
Yeah,
you've got to be busting a gut to get in that 6-yard box when you see. You've got to anticipate that happening when the ball's played to Malacia. I think it was Bruno that played it to Malacia, by the way. I've said I watched it with my lad. I'm going to have to re-watch this, but my lad said Bruno took a touch there. If he'd have passed it to Malacia instantly, so this isn't my views, it's somebody else's views. If he'd have passed it instantly without taking a touch, he reckons he'd have been in a miles better position. So I'll be watching that later and checking on it for the chance that the one that Malacia fired across the box. Yeah,
this leads back to what I was saying about Højlund. Is it the player crossing it in that doesn't know how to pick out Højlund, or is it Højlund not understanding and being in the right position to put the ball? Then to get the ball and put it into the back of the net, and if it's the latter, then there's a problem.
My opinion is all strikers' instinct. I don't think it's a coincidence, and this might sound mad, but I don't think it's a coincidence that Scott McTominay got so many goals last year. It wasn't. He just seemed to be in the right place at the right time every single time. And there was even times last season where I watched it and there's like Højlund would be like a half a yard behind McTominay, and McTominay would have just made that run a little bit quicker and got into the right position. And I mean, to be fair to me, he was finishing them off as well. But that striker's instinct is just something that it's weird. It's like you can't really teach it.
No, you can't.
You just have it or you don't.
My favourite example of that, McTominay's goal against Coventry at Wembley. You literally see him before Ireland even knows where the ball's going. McTominay's there. Ireland turns around. McTominay's there. Yeah, McTominay was the best at it in that squad. He was for how people used to get on his back for other things. The one thing that he was by far the best at in that squad was just getting in the box, mate. Yeah, he was top.
He's banging goals in Italy now, and I'm fed up of hearing people say because it's a slower league. Grow up. I'll tell Beth that as well. Just grow up. Just grow up. You know what I mean? AC Milan, Inter Milan have beat Arsenal, drawn at the Etihad. Juventus have beat City. Yeah. You know what I mean? The top 8 in the Europa League, in the Champions League, I think there's 3 English teams, or is there 2? But there's 3 Italian teams anyway. Serie A won 5 places in the Champions League last year, and we won 4.
Lazio top of the Europa League, aren't they?
Lazio are top of our table. If there's a couple of great teams in England i.e. Liverpool and City when they're on it. Yeah. And they would probably be the top 2 if they were in Serie A. But they'd be the top 2 here. Do you know what I mean? It's just crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I do feel like people downplay other leagues a lot.
Well, what I was going to say, by the way, I was going to say, like McTominay's banging goals in Italy, but he's playing every single minute of every match. Conte loves him. He doesn't sub him. Yeah. He wasn't even starting here, he was coming on as a sub, or if he did start, he got dragged off. That was happening under Solskjaer, it was happening under Ten Hag. So, I wouldn't mind betting, even though people are saying he's scoring the goals there because it's a slower league, he's playing that many minutes there, I bet he's scoring less goals there per minute on the pitch than what he was scoring here.
Last season, I mean, that's something I have to Google that stat.
He plays every minute. You know what I mean? He scored some goals in the first minute and he scored some goals in the last minute. Here, he won't be on the pitch either at the start or at the end, would he? One or the other.
True. I mean, McTominay, me personally, I've never really been a huge McTominay fan for the position that he's playing in. I think that position just didn't suit him too much. I mean, he wasn't. I don't want to talk about McTominay too much.
He's gone. He's gone.
Yeah, but moving on though, there's another player that I feel like actually had a decent game. Instead of talking about the players that had bad games, Martinez. I think Lisandro Martinez had a decent game. Again, I've got some stats here. 94% pass accuracy, 59 passes completed, which was, I think this isn't in the first half or second half, I can't remember. But 59 passes completed, which was the most, 2 clearances, which was the most, 1 big chance created, which was the most, and 1 dribble completed, which was the most. I think this was the first half, and also had a shot, which was the second most. He also had the most line-breaking passes completed in the first half. Now, I know you're not Vicky's not the biggest fan of Martinez, but is he another player that's kind of he's passing the audition now to kind of say, you know what, I am here to stay as a long-term starter in this team?
He's doing a lot better, and something that I didn't give him or the manager credit for, really. Whenever I've thought of 3 centre-backs, so you're learning all the time. I'm still learning. You know what I mean? I'm 66, right? Whenever I've thought of 3 centre-backs, I've always thought about safety in numbers. Like when we've beaten City a couple of times here, I think we've beaten them at the Etihad when we played with 3 centre-backs. And it's generally, in the times that we played against them, Maguire, Luke Shaw's played left-sided centre-back against them at least twice, maybe 3 times. Who would we have had on the right? Lindelof. We've beaten City. I bet we've beaten City twice with Lindelof, Maguire and Luke Shaw as the 3 centre-backs. Those, when they play as 3 centre-backs in games like that, they literally are 3 centre-backs. They stick there, they stay in line. Obviously, you're going to get moved a little bit. You might follow somebody forward a little bit. But Amorim's plan, at least one of your centre-backs has got to really push up time and time again. And that's something that I would never have thought of and would never have told one of my centre-backs to do. But Martinez seems to be doing it, certainly doing it to a T. He scored 2 goals and got 1 assist in the last 6 games or something, hasn't he? Do you know what I mean? And that's not bad for a centre-back, especially a centre-back who's not getting in the box and scoring headers. You know, his two goals have come from shots, haven't they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, they've been good goals as well.
There was even one pass he did today, I think it was to Højlund, where he had like a header, and he's just missed a header or something like that. But I think those passes is what's kind of separated Martinez from the rest of the centre-backs, in my opinion, because Maguire can pass. But I think it's a different kind of passing. He kind of spreads the pitch.
Yeah, you won't get the same. You won't get the same from. And I don't think. Well, especially with him being left-footed as well, so that's part of it. But I don't think you'd get the same from any other player that we've got. What he's doing, the way he's pushing forward and joining in with the attacks. Yeah,
and I think Mazraoui as well kind of does that very well on the right-hand side. I know he did obviously play there today, until we made the changes. I mean, until we spoke about it on the build-up show about potentially him starting there and whether or not this was his potential favourite position. Do you feel like he could kind of make more of a case for himself in that right centre-back position, or do you think he kind of just goes back to the right wing-back position after today?
I think it's his best position. I thought it before today. I thought it, the entire time he's been here. I've always preferred him when he's played as that right centre-back. But unfortunately for him, that's probably the most stacked position we've got in the squad. You're up against Dalot and Yoro, so. You're not going to be a guaranteed starter in that position. However, I do think he's more effective there than as a wing back.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think something that kind of hasn't really been like I didn't see anyone really pick up on it either online or us here, and I don't know why I didn't say it when we were watching the game. But Yoro, when he came on and played in left centre back. And Yoro hasn't played there, and yes, he wasn't on for a long period of time, Yoro, and I know we're talking about Martinez, but they obviously replaced. Yoro didn't really do anything wrong. So again, Yoro coming in, playing in a position at left centre back when all he's done before is play right centre back. And yes, it's still the centre back, that is his position, but it's difficult to go from left centre back to right centre back, just like it's difficult to go from left back to right back, left wing back to right wing back. Right, and for Yoro to come in at his age and this maturity that he's got, and to play these type of positions, and just be thrown in, because it wasn't easy tonight. There's no doubt about it. Tonight wasn't easy. Yes, we played good football, but still the atmosphere, the pitch invaders, it's not easy. So for Yoro to come in and play that again, it's just building for the future, and just it's all looking positive.
So I don't know if all of us would agree, but is that 3 first choice centre backs, Martinez, Dalot and Maguire, or would any of you disagree with that?
I'd still have Maguire as my central centre. To be honest with you, I'd probably have Johnny Evans as my central centre back. However, I don't know what's going on with him. But I think that centre one's got to be Maguire or Evans. I just think they're a step ahead on the ball than anyone else.
So we actually have an exclusive Dalot interview. I think maybe Beth got a Dalot interview. So we can bring this in, right? We can bring this in on the forum. Yeah, so we're going to bring that in. We've got an exclusive interview from Dalot. In fact, quickly before I bring that in, one super chat from Alex Z. Rasmus is a poacher. He needs service and he benefits from other players crashing into the box. McTominay helped him find goals last season. Interesting super chat. But yeah, let's bring in this Dalot interview and hear what he said. Let's see if it works.
Diogo?
It didn't work. We are getting that sorted. If it does work later on, we will bring that interview back. But it is a Dalot interview with Beth. It'll be on the channel anyway, so you guys will be able to go and watch it. But yeah, unfortunately that didn't work. But yeah, I think he was talking about obviously the game, and we didn't really touch too much on Dalot anyway. I mean, before the show and the build-up show, we were kind of talking about who would be your preferred right wing back in this team. If Dorgu comes in and starts playing, who'll be your preferred right wing back in the team, Dalot or Mazraoui? I think you said Mazraoui would be yours, or did you say Dalot?
I said Dalot or Ahmad.
Yeah.
For me right wing back, yeah.
Yeah, I'd go Dalot.
I'd go Dalot if it was a right wing back.
So does that mean that if Dorgu does come in, Mazraoui has to go to the bench?
Or get some games at centre back. Plus, he mixes it up a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Mazraoui can play. Mazraoui would probably still get some games as right wing back, and Dalot would probably switch to the left, and Dorgu would probably get a rest, and then Mazraoui might get a game.
It tends
at
to be 5
back.
changes from Amorim in most games.
Yeah, he'd still get plenty of game time.
Yeah.
I think is it working now? Okay, we're gonna try again. Round 2. Let's
Hi, Diogo.
We'll be able to hear it as well.
You ready to go? Diogo, great win. Good that you don't have to go and play them extra games. Ruben Amorim's been talking about how much we need training. How difficult has it been adapting to a new system with little training and a lot of games?
It's been pretty much train in games. I think that's been the the most difficult part, because obviously it's not the same thing, because you try to always to adapt as quick as you can, because the games are always different. But at the same time, we play at this level, we play for a big club, we need to adapt really quick, as quick as possible. I think we've been getting better, but obviously winning games, I think it helps when you win games. I think that's the momentum that we want to keep for the next games. Another clean sheet, so I think it's important for the club.
And you've played right back and left back for this club. Which one do you feel like suits you more? And looking for the future, looks like there will be a left wing back coming into Manchester United. How does it feel to compete for that place?
I mean, it's been my whole life at this club competing. I think nobody comes to Manchester United thinking that there's not going to be competition for positions. That's been my life at Manchester United all the time. So I think I feel pretty comfortable on both sides. It's obviously when you start playing a lot of games in the same position, it starts to become even more comfortable. So overall, I'm here to help. I think the club, the manager already knows the profile of player that I am. I'm ready to help the team, be in my best shape possible, and when the time comes, try to give my best.
And then last time I spoke to Bruno Fernandes, the captain. He said that Portuguese are very fiery. Have you seen that side to Ruben Amorim in the changing room?
I know where you want to go, but obviously, yeah, he's a passionate manager. He was as a player, and now he's as a manager as well. And I think it's what this club needs. If you speak to all the fans, they always show this desire of wanting the best for the club, and that's what we want. So if we want to win, if we want to go to where this club belongs, we need to be like that.
Thank you, great goal.
All right, so that was an interview with Dalot. I mean, he speaks very well, to be fair.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the United Stand, and welcome to Erasmus.
I don't know, I can hear Mark in my chat, in my ear. But I'm going to take that out. So, in terms of Dalot, do you guys feel like he could be a future captain for the club? Do you feel like he's got that kind of
That's a good shout.
Mentality, that personality?
Yeah, I mean, in all his press conferences that he's done, all his post-match, all his pre-game interviews, he speaks fantastically. I think no one's got any doubt that he likes to be here, he loves to be here, he takes pride in playing for Manchester United, and that's what it's all about, because we've seen players in the past and still some current players that are here that don't really care that they're playing for Manchester United. They just care that they're being paid and that they can play football. But to care and to play and have pride for playing for Manchester United, and then on top of it, be a decent footballer, is great.
Yeah, I appreciate the fact that he came to United whilst he was fairly young. He was probably about 19, 20 when we signed him. Didn't get as many starts as he would have hoped for after the first 2 seasons, but then went out on loan, performed out on loan, and came back and got rewarded for it. So I've always appreciated that about Dalot.
Yeah, do you agree? Is there any other players that you feel like could be future captains for the club?
Future captains, that's a tough question. Well, obviously, we've got some really young players who might not step up to the plate yet, but if Mainoo keeps going as he is, I don't see why he couldn't be a skipper in 5 or 6 years rather than in the next year or 2. Yeah. So there's probably 1 or 2 like that, but I think Dalot, I think he's a good shout. Yeah,
100%. I mean, looking into the next game, I mean, we've got Crystal Palace on the weekend, back to the Premier League. Now, this game was, in my opinion, probably the most convincing win we've had in a very long time. I mean, you mentioned before, we've lost 1 in 7, and I think that was the Brighton game. Yeah. We do have Crystal Palace on the weekend at home at Old Trafford. Are we going to that bit more confident now? Are we feeling like, you know what, we can actually put in a good performance, not just get a win, but actually put in a good performance, a good 90 minutes of football?
I think so. I think. I'm not going to say it is going to happen, but the way we've played tonight, and obviously the confidence from the recent results, there's more chance of it happening. I'm not going to say it is going to happen, but there's more chance that this weekend we can play well. And if we play well, obviously we could end up winning. If you win and play well, that'll be fantastic. And rather than one or the other. Yeah, I mean, we do need to kind of get some more points on the board. We're still putting them up on the table. I mean, let me get on the Premier League table quickly. Whilst I'm doing that, guys, make sure you go and check the full Dalot interview. If you did miss it, make sure you go and check it out. It is on the channel. The link's actually in the description, so if you don't want to, go and find it, the link's in the description. Go and check out the full Dalot interview. But look, the Premier League table right now, we are in 12th. Crystal Palace are in 13th.
So
just a quick word on Crystal Palace. Sorry to interrupt mid-sentence, but just a quick word on Crystal Palace. I think we can't underestimate Crystal Palace. They have got some players in that Crystal Palace squad that are above Crystal Palace level, if you know what I mean. And they are playing their results. The Crystal Palace's results on paper aren't necessarily reflective of how Crystal Palace have been playing as a whole. This season they were against Arsenal in I think it was the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup, was it? So their results on paper aren't really reflective of how they were playing. So it's not going to be an easy game, the Palace game. So we do need to watch out.
Is it at home?
Yeah.
At Old Trafford? I feel like our recent Premier League form at Old Trafford's not good, is it?
No.
It's not good at all. It really isn't good. I'm not overly confident, but then again, that home form eventually it's got to break, hasn't it? We're not just going to keep losing every week at Old Trafford. It's got to come a point where we break it. So I'm not overly confident, but that just means if we get the win, I'll be over the moon. That's all that means.
Yeah, I mean, I always look up the table to kind of see where we would end up. I mean, we are on 29 points. The next team above us is Brentford on 31 points. So, I mean, that's just assuming if they lose, we go above them. But realistically, we could probably just end up staying at 12. You know,
Palace are you said are one place behind us. Would they overtake us if they beat us?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do overtake us. To be fair, we could end up in 14th if we lose. So it is tight. It is tight. In that we're in a bit of a mid-table clash right now.
It's a mid-table clash.
It's a mid-table clash. I didn't realise how difficult this mid-table clash is because we're never in it. But these teams, it's hard to get out of it. I understand why it's all the same teams that end up there anyway. But yeah, I mean, hopefully on the weekend we can get that win. There was one more quote from Kobby Mainoo on his goal. He said, any time to put the ball in the back of the net for Manchester United is amazing. Hopefully there is more to come. I mean, he has scored some big goals for us. Obviously not this season, but obviously the City goal in the final, Liverpool goal, that Wolves, winner. He has scored some big goals for us, so he does seem like the kind of player that is confident in front of goals. And I feel like, given the right opportunities, there's no reason why he can't. I'm not saying he's going to be a top goal scorer for us, but he can chip in with some goals when we need it.
He'll get more playing. You know, obviously he's playing a little bit further forward just tonight, and the manager said he's done well there. Hopefully he keeps him there for a bit. Yeah.
So to wrap up the show, I mean, Beth's not here, but we are going to do Beth's magic moment. Yeah, and anyone who doesn't know what Beth's magic moment is, it's the one moment of the game that you kind of remember. So the moment that kind of sticks out the most. It could be a goal, could be a tackle, could be a skill. Whatever you want it to be. So, has anyone got one at the top of their mind already?
No.
A Beth's magic moment?
I've got one.
Go on.
You reminded me of it before, but I was raving about it. Eriksen's little header to Mainoo. And also, on top of it, Mainoo's little body feint to open up the space in the box. Brilliant.
Yeah, so that goal overall, I'll go with that.
Well
thought of, Tom. Well thought of.
I agree.
Yeah, may as well just do
You know what? I wish the Mainoo goal went in. The first that
I was going to say that
where he flicked over his head. That skill. There's even a picture of him in mid-air, like volleying it. And I just thought, if that was a goal, that'd be the best picture I've ever seen in my life.
I think a defender got his foot in.
He did brilliant.
So it was very, very close to being a goal. But I mean, I guess everyone's pretty much picking that. No differences. And what about our man of the matches to round up?
Mainoo.
Good shout. I mean,
yeah, I'm going to go Mainoo.
Yeah, I think it's no-brainer today, isn't it?
Clean sweep.
I think definitely Kobby.
I'm not even going to try and be different. So Mainoo gets our man of the match. Let us know in the chat and in the comments as well who your man of the match is. Thank you guys for joining me on the fans forum. Kev will be back. Everyone put in the chat, get well soon, Kev. He was on a build-up show from the hospital. The first time ever we've had that. But Kev will be back. I don't know on the next game, but he will be back eventually. And also Beth will be back. But thank you guys for watching, and we will see you on the next show.